Well, hello and welcome back. It's really nice to see you again. So for this episode, I thought that I would do something that has been requested quite a lot over the years. I have done a video like this before, but it was quite a while ago, so I thought that I would do a new version for all the new people who've subscribed, and in case you haven't seen the last one. And what this is me just sharing some of my favorite books. So I had a friend over at the weekend and he was looking through some of my collection and he said it would be really nice for you to share some of these books for a YouTube episode, just telling people why you like them and maybe if there's a story behind them you could share that. So I thought that would be a great thing to do for this episode, and as so many people have asked for it, it would be fun and interesting. So I've selected 4 of my favorite books at the moment that I'm going to share with you, and I've also got one which I created myself. So this is a trip that I took back in 2016 around Europe in the summertime. I took a lot of nice photos and I thought that it would be nice, instead of just keeping them on my camera or my laptop, to create a little book of photographs and just a few words of the memories that I had at each of these places. So this is quite a special one, personal, and I thought that I would share it with you today as well. So I hope that you will enjoy looking through some of my selections. So yeah, let's get started. So the first one that I want to share with you is called A Year at Clove Brook Farm, and this is by Christopher Spitzmiller. Now I'm not sure whether you know who Christopher is, but he is a friend of mine that I met through Instagram when Instagram first started back in like 2013. We've been friends since then, and he is a really nice guy. He lives in the US and he has a company that makes lamps, really beautiful ceramic lamps. And in fact, he's made lamps for quite a few presidents. You will see his works in the White House. So Christopher is a pretty amazing person, and he lives in this beautiful house called Clove Brook Farm. And this book just goes through each of the seasons at the farm, how he likes to entertain, decorate and spend time gardening and doing things that he enjoys. So this is filled with beautiful pictures, recipes and inspiration, and is one of my very favorites. So let's have a look inside this one. Now what I love is that when you immediately open this one, you have a gorgeous illustration of Clove Brook Farm, and it just shows the entire estate. So here we have the house, and then here we have a topiary garden, the dovecote garden, the dovecote, which is really beautiful. You get to see that in there. And then it just shows you the rest of the estate, like the pool, the kitchen garden, and everything else. So it kind of gives you perspective on this place and just how beautiful it is. And then here we have a little illustration of Clove Brook Farm, and then Christopher left me a little message in here when he sent me this one a few years ago. And then you can kind of see a plan of the whole estate here, which is pretty cool to look at. Again, you can see the house, the dovecote, and all of the other outbuildings, the pool, so you get more of a perspective. And the foreword of this one was actually written by somebody who I really admire, and that is Martha Stewart, which is very interesting. She is a good friend of Christopher, so she wrote the foreword of this book. So yeah, let's have a look through this one. As you can see, it goes through spring, summer, fall and winter, and it talks about all of the seasons and entertaining. So let's have a look through. Let's get right into spring, and I can see some gorgeous daffodils. Yeah, and I just love all the photography in this one. It is just gorgeous. I'm so excited to get started. I'm glad that we're in March now as well. That means spring is coming. I can already see lots of lovely things popping up. So it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to the new season. So this is the dovecote that I was telling you about, and I'm just going to read a little section of this. And it says, "One of the first structures I built from scratch at Clove Brook Farm after restoring the main house was a dovecote. With its octagonal shape, remarkable 10-foot tall vintage windows that I salvaged from a roadside sale for $200 and steep pitched roof, it is one of the most distinctive buildings on the property, serving as the focal point of my dovecote garden, which contains a mix of annuals, perennials and topiaries. It is one of my favourite places to experiment. And here you can see some of the garden. Christopher has a lot of animals on the farm. I love these geese in particular. You get to see them on his Instagram and they're so cute. Now this is a Easter table setting, which I think is just glorious. You can see that we have all this cabbageware on here, the beautiful wallpaper. It's really got a feeling of being outdoors, which I guess is what it's all about in springtime. We've got the eggs, the daffodils, the chickens. It's just very spring, very uplifting, very inspirational. And then here, some beautiful snowdrops, some fresh asparagus. And then what I also like about this one is that at the end of each season, it kind of has like a spring calendar and some spring recipes that you can refer back to. So it tells you what you should be doing through each month. And then it also tells you some recipes that are in season, in particular at this time of the year. So rhubarb pie would be great for spring because there's lots of rhubarb. I just think that's really cool. So let's have a little flick through. As you can see, Christmas, beautiful at Christopher's house. And yeah, each season is celebrated: autumn, winter, spring, summer. Filled with beautiful photography. You get to see inside Christopher's amazing home. So as you can see, it's a really wonderful book that everybody can enjoy and find some wonderful inspiration from. So I would highly recommend checking this one out. So the next one that I want to share with you is this one, and it's called Life in a French Country House, Entertaining for All Seasons. And this is by Cordelia de Castellan. She is the head of Baby Dior and Dior Home. So she's a very stylish lady, French, very chic, and she lives in this beautiful country house in France. And so this book just goes through the year of her entertaining, and it celebrates occasions like Easter, Christmas, summer parties, barbecues. It is absolutely stunning, one of my very favorites. So let's look through this one now. And in this foreword you can see the French country house owned by Cordelia. I love this contents page, these gorgeous flower illustrations. So again, like Christopher's book, this goes through each season, and I think I've realized that this is something that I particularly enjoy, living seasonally and just enjoying each moment of the year as it passes by and trying to embrace each season as it comes. So into spring, Cordelia in this gorgeous dress in the garden, as you do. Again, lots of gorgeous pictures, images. And then I'm just going to read this little chapter here. Spring invites us to breathe. The colours of nature are fresh and tender, with everything heightened by yellow. The wicker objects blend well with them. The air is sweet and soothing, and it would be an insult to nature not to be in the garden, where a long hidden reawakening is transparently taking place. Just beautiful pictures. I just love these straw hats and these little roses. So pretty. Now this goes on to look at some of Cordelia's table settings. As a fan of setting the table, this is pretty interesting. Just look at this scene outside in a French country garden. What could be nicer than that? So in this one, there are a lot of recipes included. This is a spring recipe for vegetable flowers, and the recipe is shortcut pastry, lime blossom honey, fresh goat's cheese, minced fresh thyme, zucchini, carrots, olive oil, salt and black pepper. And I think I've made something similar to this in the past, and it is quite effective. You just slice these vegetables very thinly, and then you arrange them in ribbons around the tart, and you get this flower, which is really cool, beautiful and unique. So maybe I will try that when spring is more on the way this year. Thought that I would share this little story about Lily of the Valley Day, which is a French national holiday celebrated on May the 1st. On May the 1st, Mr. Dior would give everyone in the atelier a lily of the valley sprig, believing that it would bring them luck. It is said that he was very superstitious and often carried one in his pockets or the lapel of his jacket, or he would put some in the hems of dresses he was showing. A cold room was reserved for him year-round to preserve the flowers. It's a very nice story. So yes, this is a beautiful coffee table book that you can come to again and again. For me, when I'm in the depths of winter and I'm lacking inspiration, I like to look through books like this and just remind myself of all the wonderful things that are coming ahead in the next season. So if you're looking for some inspiration, for a book that you can keep for many years and keep coming back to again and again, filled with wonderful recipes and glorious photographs, then I would highly recommend this one to you. So the next one that I want to share with you is this one, and it is called Great Houses, Modern Aristocrats. And this is by a writer called James Reginato. Now he is quite a well-known journalist. He writes for Vanity Fair mostly, lifestyle articles. So this book, I knew it was going to be great because I really do enjoy reading his work. So this is kind of a look inside some of the most beautiful homes in Britain, and just seeing the lives of the people who live in them. Now these are all people who've inherited these great estates and kind of how they're managing in a modern world to keep them going in often challenging times, and how they live in them in a modern way. So it's a really fascinating insight into the lives of these people, and you get to see some incredible houses. So it's a very good book. So I thought that for this one I would share with you one of my favourite homes and one of my favourite people who is no longer with us, and this is the Dowager Duchess of Devonshire, who was married to the Duke of Devonshire of Chatsworth House, one of the most exquisite houses in the whole of the UK. So after living in Chatsworth, which had 297 rooms for almost 50 years, when her husband died she had to vacate. That's what happens with English country houses. And then she moved into the old vicarage, which is just a few minutes away from Chatsworth. And she managed to make this home into something quite special and beautiful. So here we can see the old vicarage. The church is just here behind it. And actually, old vicarages and rectories are probably my favourite type of home in the UK. I just think they're very charming. They're kind of a country house on a smaller scale, and you can really make a beautiful home. So I just loved this when I saw it, and I became a little bit fascinated. So I'm not sure whether you can see, but this is a little detail of a mantelpiece, and this is actually a very light ballerina pink colour on the wall, which is so beautiful for a lady's home, and I just think it looks very elegant, and everybody looks beautiful sitting in a room that is pink. And then here we have the hallway, which has this gorgeous stone floor, and then I love this green colour that is on the walls. It is beautiful and fresh, and then we have this star lamp on the ceiling. Again, we have the pink colour in this private bathroom, which I absolutely love, and this is kind of typical of a very English country house style where it's a relaxed room. In a lot of bathrooms now, they tend to be clinical, modern and clean, but I also like these older bathrooms that have carpets and little chairs, places to sit. It's more decorated like a room for comfort, which is pretty old school and pretty classic. And here we have the Duchess of Devonshire sitting in her sitting room, surrounded by all of her favourite things, books. This chintzy fabric sofa is beautiful, and you can just tell that she's a fascinating person. So this one is quite a big one, and it's called Valentino at the Emperor's Table. So you may recognize that this is Valentino Garavani, the famous designer of Valentino. And this is a huge kind of Bible about his homes around the world, which he has plenty of, looking at the decor, but mostly looking at how he sets the table in each home and for different occasions. So it is a hugely fascinating insight into someone who lives this incredible, extraordinary life that not many people get to experience. It's kind of living like a king, like an emperor, which is why it's called At the Emperor's Table. Valentino lives a very luxurious life. It's kind of difficult to imagine that someone lives this kind of life in this day and age, but it is very, very fascinating. And also what I like is that every chapter of the book includes some really incredible recipes. I have a very favourite one, which I'm going to share with you when we look through this one. So yeah, let's get to it now. So as you can see, this is quite a huge book, and it comes in this gorgeous jacket, which is pretty cool. So let's have a look through this one. Now, what I will say about this book, which is quite surprising, is that it's a little bit plain. Lots of white blank pages, which actually put me off at the beginning. But just getting to see inside Valentino's home and the recipes is what makes this book worthwhile. So, as you can see, we go through each location. The first one is Stade. Valentino has a home there in Switzerland. It's one of his oldest homes, and obviously he goes there to ski and just spend Christmas and New Year with close friends. So this is kind of a taste of what you get to see, Valentino's incredible table settings with all of the things that he's collected over the years, like glassware, objects, cutlery, china, crystal. Everything is beautiful, everything is a work of art, and you get to see how wonderful this man lives. So the place that I would like to show you the most is Chateau de Wideville. I think that's how you say it, but I'm not sure. So I'm just going to read this to you now. Chateau de Wideville is Valentino's home just outside Paris, where visitors will experience a sense of time regained through the host's brilliant and passionate orchestration of beauty and refinement. This historic chateau is Valentino's favourite residence for creating a grand yet welcoming atmosphere. Here the designer is surrounded by a lifetime of collecting splendour, the culmination of a very sophisticated decorating style that he enjoys sharing with his guests. So here is a beautiful garden scene in the chateau, surrounded by these glorious trees under this arbour, and we have a table set for lunch. Here are some of Valentino's friends and family. What I like about Valentino is that he is someone who treats his very close friends as family. He's made lots of friends over the years, holds them close and treats them as family, which I think is pretty cool. So look at this table with these swan ornaments on. So excessive, but quite incredible. And this is it. So it's frozen chestnut souffle. And you can see how decadent and incredible this looks. And it is something that I've been wanting to try for a very long time. So I think I'm going to do that soon. And if it is successful, I will share it here with you. But yep, this looks just so delicious. Souffle is one of my favourite desserts, and then we've got this meringue on the top, burnt meringue, which is also another favourite thing of mine. So this just looks so beautiful. Definitely something that I want to try soon. It is looks just gorgeous. So yes, this is a pretty cool book, filled with glorious pictures. Very excessive, but quite interesting and fascinating. So I would highly recommend this one too. Okay, so let me share with you the final one, which is my own book that I created. Now, making my own book was something that I wanted to do for a long time. It's still a dream of mine, because this one obviously hasn't been published. It's just for my own use. There's only this one copy. But I really enjoyed the creative process of creating this, putting all my pictures together, writing some copy about some of the memories that I had. So it was fun, and it made me realize why I really want to have my own book one day. It's still something that I want to achieve, hopefully very soon. So let's look through this together now. So yes, let me talk you through my book. So here we have the contents page, and now, as I mentioned before, all of the pictures in this are taken by me. I had a really good camera at the time, and I used to enjoy taking pictures. So this is actually a scene in a village called Mougins, which is in France, the south of France. So part one is France. We went to Paris at the beginning, then to Saint-Emilion, the Côte d'Azur, and then Mougins. Also Monaco, and then part two is Switzerland and Italy, and then part three is the Isle of Capri. So I'm going to show you through this book now. So this is a picture that I took of the gates at the Palace of Versailles. I was supposed to be going to look around there, but actually it wasn't very well planned, and it was so busy that I didn't get a chance to go there. So I would definitely like to visit again and do that. Arrival in Paris. So I went on this long trip with my ex-partner, and we'd spent a lot of months in Dubai for work, and then we decided to escape the Dubai heat for the summertime and go on this trip. So we started off in Paris, and we were doing a driving tour of Europe. This is where I had afternoon tea at the newly renovated Ritz. I'd been there for the first time back in 2012, but this was the first time visiting after the renovation. The tea that we had in the Marcel Proust salon, which was absolutely gorgeous. We didn't stay at the Ritz in Paris, we were just there for the day, so we had afternoon tea, and then we moved on to Saint-Emilion, which is an incredible French village where they obviously produce wine, and we stayed at this Relais Chateau Hotel, which is one of the most beautiful places I've ever stayed. So that is a picture of me in the hotel, and here is the dining room where we had breakfast and dinners. After that we drove down to the Côte d'Azur, and this is one of the most favourite pictures that I've taken ever, because I just think it captures the spirit of the French Riviera so well. It's such a beautiful place. Then a little trip to Hotel du Cap, which is a beautiful hotel in the south of France, and you can see here this is on the terrace of the hotel, which overlooks this beautiful water. Picture of me in the hotel. This is one of my favourite hotels that I've ever been to. It is absolutely beautiful. The decoration is classic and timeless, lots of blue and white, very French and very summery and beautiful. And here a bigger picture of the lounge that you can see. So we actually went to Monaco for the day to see what it was all about, and it was during the Grand Prix, so it was so busy, but still super fun and such a cool place to see. Part two, Switzerland and Italy. So yeah, we had one night in Geneva. Geneva is one of my favourite cities. It's so clean and beautiful and peaceful. So this is the Four Seasons Hotel in Geneva, and they are quite famous for incredible flower displays in the lobby, which I took a picture of here. And then when we take this page open, you can see this incredible display of flowers, which is just amazing. And yeah, I just loved taking photographs and creating this book, putting it together, and yeah, just bringing back all these wonderful memories. I think it's a very special thing to have. For this, we were driving to Rome, and we stopped at Lake Como just for the day as we were heading there. And yeah, pretty incredible place as well. Now in Rome, we went to see a special opera. It was a production of La Traviata, but it was Valentino was designing the costumes and Sofia Coppola was directing it. So it was very special. And this is just a picture that I took from the program of the opera. And it's one of the designs for one of the gowns in the opera. And this is me ready to go to the opera. And again, another picture of one of the gowns worn at the opera. Now this picture here is the only picture that isn't taken by me because we're not allowed to take any pictures inside the opera. But this is from the program and I just thought that it was nice to include it as a memory, and you get to see the gown of the illustration previously in real life, and it was amazing. So part 3, the Isle of Capri, which I often talk about and state that it's my favourite place in the world, and I think it is still true. I fell in love with Capri. So we stayed in a villa at the beginning. We were only supposed to be there for a few days, but we ended up extending. So at the beginning we stayed in this villa, which was quite humble. It was just a 1-bedroom villa, but it had this incredible terrace, and as you can see, it overlooks this bay in Capri, and there is a view of the Faragloni rocks just here, but you can't see it from this picture. And there is me sitting in the bedroom. This is the bedroom of the villa, and if you sat on the windowsill here, you had the view of the rocks, which I always like to do, and just sat there dreaming and just not quite believing how beautiful this place was. Capri is fantastic for shopping. I really enjoyed just walking past the boutiques and seeing what they had in all of the windows. Now this is an incredible restaurant on Capri called La Fontellina, and if you hire a little boat, which we did for the day, and you get to drive it yourself, and then what happens is you can just stop here and then a boat from the restaurant will come and pick you up and bring you here, and you can have lunch and then sunbathe on this incredible little beach, which is so beautiful. And this is me on the boat, and here is where the restaurant comes to pick you up, and this is another couple on a boat, and I just thought that I would picture them arriving. And then I went to see this man here. I can't remember his name, but he has lived on Capri his whole life, and he makes the famous Capri sandals, which were a favourite of Jackie Kennedy. So he was just telling me about the process of making them and the craftsmanship that goes into each pair of Capri sandals. One of the most incredible things about Capri is the blue of the water, which is just, as you can see, just stunning. And that's one of the things that I always found mesmerizing, is how beautiful, cerulean blue and just breathtaking. So a very special place to me, and I hope to be able to return one day soon. So I hope that you enjoyed looking through this one. It is quite personal. You'll notice that I skipped some pages, and that's because my ex-boyfriend was in some of these photographs, and I'm not sure whether he'd want me to share on YouTube, so I've kept that private. But yeah, I hope that you got to have a little taster of this trip and of this book. And yeah, it was super fun to share it with you. Capri. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode looking through some of my favourite books. Look forward to seeing you next time, but until then, take care. Bye-bye.